Hello, friends. My name is Shrines, and it's time for Chapter 4 of Cabin Fever, called Growth. And we have Mallory. We decided to let her stay. It's time to see what antics we get up to now. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Rooster again. I slept solidly that night and woke up feeling surprisingly good. The sun was shining, my body and mind were refreshed, and once again, something smelled delicious in a kitchen-y kind of way. Hey, I could get used to this, thought my brain. I rolled my eyes at myself as I hopped out of bed. This was the start of a new routine. Had to be. Mallory's here now, and I didn't want either one of us taking advantage of the other. I wonder if she'd like to learn about the systems I had set up for off-grid living. Definitely needed her to understand why certain things are important, like conserving water, obviously. But she might actually enjoy being involved with the work I did on the daily. Maybe we could share the load. She could be the Sam to my Frodo. Oh, wow. My heart felt kind of bright and big at the thought of having a friend, even just for a while. It was something to break up the mind-numbing monotony of the sweet post-apocalyptic lifestyle we'd been living. I could be an okay teacher. I taught a few online courses before, for beginners wanting to learn C#. Teaching someone how to feed a chicken shouldn't be harder than that. I treaded softly down the stairs and snuck in the kitchen. Some egg medley bubbled away in a skillet, and a pot of rice was boiling over. Uh-oh. Mallory stood with her back to me, struggling to reach something high up in the cupboard.
Your pot is boiling.
Oh, you surprised me. Good morning. How did you sleep?
Oh, that's a cute picture. She has her apron on. Making a lovely egg. Very cute. She moved back to the stove to transfer the rice off the heat. Then she picked up the skillet and gave the eggs a good toss.
I slept okay. How about you?
She smiled, wiping her hands on her apron. It was my mother's apron, actually, and I was pleasantly surprised to see it. It's been tucked away in a bottom drawer and forgotten about for a long time.
Great. Your couch is super comfy, and that blanket is so cozy and warm.
Good, I'm glad.
My gaze drifted to the open cupboard behind Mallory.
Did you need something from up there?
Look back at the cupboard and let a nervous giggle. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to reach it either, probably. Need a step stool or help or something.
Yes, please. I was looking for aspirin and I thought I saw a bottle up there, but I couldn't really reach. I didn't want to risk standing up on a chair or something with my leg.
Oh, her leg's still hurting. Yeah, I bet that she got caught in a bear trap episode 1, so not good.
Is it getting more painful? I did notice a little redness yesterday, but I didn't think it was infected. Unless... Wait, you're not feeling sick, are you?
No, it's just the leg. It's a bit achy.
I motioned for her to switch places with me, keeping some distance between us as I reached up and grabbed the aspirin bottle out of the cupboard. It was still half full, yet I hesitated for a moment, reluctant to share my supply, but then I could order more, along with that first aid kit I needed to replace. I set the bottle on the counter and stepped away so Mallory could take it. She smiled so brightly that dimples appeared on her cheeks.
Thank you so much. You're the best.
You're welcome. I pressed my lips together, trying not to smile. We were still standing too close to one another. I took a few steps back, clearing my throat.
Maybe it's time for another temperature check, just to be sure.
I went to grab the scanner and came back.
Could you, move your hair?
She lifted her bangs off her forehead so I could get a clear reading with the temperature scanner. After a few moments, the happy sound of one beep let me know she was fever-free.
Okay,
Always
you're good.
good.
But we should keep distancing until enough time has passed to know for sure.
Mallory nodded as she untied her apron. Then she did a little twirl on her good leg and offered me a plate. Please don't twirl and fall.
How's this for a second attempt at breakfast?
Much better. Oh, okay. The food looked glorious. I knew the eggs were fresh because I collected them myself just a few days prior, but still, what she done with them was beyond impressive. Nice. That looks yummy. Rough chopped vegetables and herbs gave splashes of color to the omelet, which was stuffed with steaming hot rice speckled with even more seasonings. The whole thing had a downright heavenly aroma. Oh, you can put rice in omelets? Interesting. Suddenly, some good old Shakespeare came to my brain. Did my heart love till now? Forswear its sight, for I ne'er saw true beauty till this breakfast. I thought to myself, you are a nerd.
Well, you seem to have learned how to use the stove properly.
To She blushed. Oh no, I hope I didn't embarrass her. I mean, it's a jokey, complimentary thing. You've been alone too long, I said to my brain. I think she's happy about it.
Really, this is amazing, and I don't deserve it.
Second breakfast, achievement unlocked. We enjoyed our breakfast at the dining room table, sitting across from each other, just like the previous night. Throughout the great big windows at Mallory's back, the yard looked bright and inviting.
Looks like we'll have great weather today. I was thinking of doing some work in the garden for a while. A place like this needs a lot of maintenance. 10 acres of green space, all the off-grid systems. It's a constant running to-do list to keep everything going.
It seems pretty amazing. Is it hard to take care of it all by yourself?
Probably, yes.
It can be hard work, but it's worth it.
Well, what can I do to help?
I looked at her a little surprised. Well, that's kind of cool. Join me in the garden, please.
I suppose you could join me if you'd like. Some fresh air might help you feel rejuvenated. Speed up your healing. I could show you a little bit about my setup, too. Introduce you to the hens.
She started as though I'd woken her up from a daydream, her eyes bright and beautiful, locked onto mine. Wow, was that all I could think.
You have hens? Like little chickens that actually run around going cluck cluck? For real?
For real. Chickens. I laughed. It hadn't occurred to me that she might not have ever seen one before, but if she came from the city, which I sort of assumed she did, then it made sense. Her childlike excitement over something so normal to me warmed my heart against its will.
Yeah, I have fish, too. You want to meet them?
She raised excited fist, practically bouncing in her seat.
Yes, I do. I really do.
Okay, let's head outside then.
She jumped up, the very definition of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Her enthusiasm was infectious. Made me feel more lively, too. I thought about insisting we both mask up if we're going to be spending the day in close proximity, but I thought about it some more. Since we'd be outside with lots of space all around, since neither of us had any symptoms, I imagine we'd be fine. As we headed outside, I offered Mallory a jacket. She declined. I was skeptical that she'd be warm enough in her As we head outside, I offered Mallory a jacket. She declined. I was skeptical that she'd be warm enough in her thoroughbred dress, but it was her call. At least the sun was warm today and there wasn't much wind. The nice garden, it's really huge. I let Mallory lead the way through the garden. She would stop to examine all the different growing things, all the fruits and vegetables, more than enough for one person. Often an overabundance of produce, so I'd end up canning a lot of it. Except for those potatoes. Rip.
Oh my gosh! Are these strawberries?
There she stood in the strawberry patch, a look of total wonderment on her face.
They look so plump and juicy, and they're so red! How did you grow them?
They're actually the easiest thing to maintain around here. They grow like weeds. Pretty much every year I get 3 whole harvests out of this patch.
Ooh, that's so cool.
Really? What do you do with all of them?
I make my own jams, put them in salads, make smoothies, things like that. I dehydrate some for easy snacking too. But I think they're best right off the bush. You're welcome to have some.
Her eyes widened. They were huge and they were actually twinkling now. How did she do that?
I've never eaten a strawberry before. Are you sure?
Wait, what? You never eaten a strawberry before? Really? That's suspicious. That's kinda sus.
Never. Jeez. Yeah, help yourself. Just put your index finger and thumb right behind the stem and pinch it off.
I watched her reach out in search of the perfect strawberry to pluck. Oh, that's cute. Oh, wow. Strawberries do look good. I want to eat one. I want to eat them all.
Watch out for slugs.
Ugh. She paused, stuck her tongue at me in jest, and selected her perfect first strawberry.
Oh, wow. These taste just like sunshine. I could eat these every day.
Feast away.
I couldn't help but want to offer everything just then. Happiness rating offer was like an additive or something.
Oh, look. This one's shaped like a heart. Ooh, this one here is huge. Look how shiny and red it is. It's like something out of a picture book. Oh, there's a little bug munching on that one. Enjoy your meal, little bug.
Oh, not a bug. I smiled to myself while Molly chatted away eating strawberries by the handful. I picked up my rake and started taking care of the fallen leaves that were roaching in the garden. Molly noticed and came over.
Can I do that?
Are you sure with your leg? Her smile was brighter than the sky above us.
Oh, no, that's okay. You need to go easy on your leg.
My leg feels fine. Please?
She just looked so earnest, reluctantly I passed her the rake. While Mallory took care of the raking, I made my way over to the other end of the garden. I worked at pulling up weeds. Ah, okay. Pretty soon I had a bucket almost filled. I looked around for Mallory. I saw her standing beside her leaf pile in progress, pausing to catch her breath. I felt bad for letting her take on the raking. She'd probably end up feeling pretty sore afterwards. Yep. So it was nice to have the help. I could probably tell that the chores would go quicker this way. Well, that's good. Yeah, I can see her bandage. Well, so it's nice she's helping out and working. Oh, there's the leaf pile. A lot of CGs. Are these CGs? Yeah. I watched her until she finished her little break and gone back to raking. Or rather, until she spotted me looking at her, gave me a big thumbs up, which I pretended I hadn't seen.
Pulling up weeds.
Making things tidy. I shook my head at myself, tossing another fistful of leafy stalks into the bucket. Something about this girl stood up my inside. She was like a cartoon princess, too happy and determined, almost too good to be real. I, for one, definitely wouldn't have been tough enough to pick up a rake with a leg injury like that. Anything I'd have sat on my couch playing video games so it healed. So I guess I felt a feeling that was part way between admiration and total bewilderment. Because there Mallory was, her pale skin glistening as she did my yard work for me, her dress swaying and dancing around her thighs as she moved. Wait, am I still looking at her? I thought I went back to weeding. Please go back to weeding. I had to put an end to this distraction. It looked like Molly was just about finished anyway, so I carried my bucket over to her.
Looking good. Good work, I mean. Let's move all this stuff to the compost bin.
Okay, what's that?
I showed her the bin. As we filled it up with weeds and old leaves, I gave her the rundown. Oh yeah, so I was like, you can do something with those weeds, right? But the leaves and the weeds and the leaves. That's cool. Yep. Mush it all, let it get all gooey, and then put on plants and stuff.
Basically, I put all the dead plant matter and vegetable waste I have into the tumbler. Since it's a sealed container, it traps lots of heat inside and helps the stuff break down. See the handle on the side? I use that to turn the tumbler so everything gets mixed together. Then, once it's all broken down, I mix it in with the garden soil. The compost gives the soil extra nutrients, which helps the plants grow. It's kind of like the circle of life. I save all the peels and ends from the produce I eat, turn them into compost, and use that to grow more stuff. So the garden really provides its own nutrients for the next crop of plants that grow there.
Very nice. Very helpful. And healthy for the ground, the environment.
Wow, that's amazing.
Honestly, everyone should be doing this. It's a big part of reducing waste.
It's like a big, friendly leaf monster. Nom nom nom.
Nom nom nom. She fed the last of the garden waste in a mouthful of the bin, then patted the top of his low, praising a good dog. I nearly sort of laughed her. She was too pure for this world, really. For a few moments, we stood together admiring the garden. It looked so clean and healthy now. Then with a twinge of anxiety, I noticed how close we were one another. How closely we've been working. Please don't get sick. But it was probably fine. She seemed healthy. More than healthy. She was handling her injury remarkably well. Was that the so-called power of positive thinking at work? Why are you coughing? Never mind. I lurched backwards, looking at her in horror.
Are you feeling sick?
No, sorry. It's just my throat is dry. I'm really thirsty.
Is that all it is? Oh, right. We've been working for a while now. She mentioned it. I felt pretty parched too. Whew.
I'll go get us some water.
I dipped inside, took a few deep breaths, and went to fill up a couple of stainless steel water bottles. Everything was fine. Her temperature has been normal from the get-go. She had no fatigue, no symptoms of virus at all, apart from that one cough, which seemed justified. Still was a reminder that I shouldn't be letting my guard down. Yeah, 14 days. 14 days. To know of any symptoms. When I returned outside, I found Mallory staring at my roof, with one hand raised to shade her eyes from the intense sunlight.
What are those? They look like shields for your house.
Oh, the solar panels. I looked up at the roof where she was pointing.
Oh, sort of. They're solar panels. And they look like they could use a sweep, actually.
Oh, they get leafy.
Why? What are they for?
They give me energy.
They absorb energy from the sun and turn it into power for the cabin.
What? Really?
Here, face towards the sun and spread your arms out.
She hesitated, then raised her arms up. She closed her eyes and lifted her head so the sun lit up her pale face.
Feel the warmth? That's energy from the sun, or as I like to call it, the nuclear furnace that sits in the sky 150 million kilometers away from us. The solar panels take that energy and convert it into electricity. That current makes its way down to a charge controller, which turns the current into voltage for the batteries. My computer, appliances, and lights are all modified to run off that DC voltage. Oh, and the charge controller is hooked up to a battery that can store all that incoming energy, so we can still run the power for a while, even when the sun has gone away.
Okay, well, my explanation made sense. For someone who'd never seen power plants before, the concept might be a hard one to grasp.
So you capture the sunshine and turn it into energy? Isn't that like what flowers do?
Yeah, that's one way of thinking about it.
The twinkle in her eyes had returned. She began to gaze up at the panels in awe.
It's like magic. If we'd had something like this where I grew up, then the citywide power outages wouldn't have mattered so much.
Ah, yes, that would have been helpful, I bet. Her smile faded a little. Suddenly the conversation felt heavy. I wanted to ask her to tell me more, but I was afraid.
Give me a few minutes to sweep the leaves off the roof. Then we can go say hi to the hens.
Ooh, okay.
They're over there, just FYI, in case I happen to fall to my death or something.
What?
Please don't fall to your death.
Don't worry. If that happens, you can just bury me in the garden. My corpse will give lots of nutrients to the soil.
Don't be so morbid. She gasped, clearly horrified, and I couldn't keep a straight face anymore. I laughed. Seriously, don't be so morbid. I like this view of the garden, though. Oh, at the hen house?
Don't kid around like that. It's not funny.
Sorry. I'll be back in a few. You rest.
I grabbed my ladder and broom from the shed and headed up onto the roof. I swept all the leaves off the solar panels and cleaned out the eavesdroughts? I've not seen that word before, for good measure. I paused to gaze down at Mallory in the garden. She looked so at peace among all the plants, butterflies that gathered nearby on a patch of wildflowers, and she was smiling at them. Didn't think I'd ever seen a sweeter scene. Looked across the distant hills toward what remained of the city. That was where Mallory had come from. I'd assumed so, but now she had confirmed it with her comment about the power outages. The thought of her living there almost hurt. Even my rooftop, I could see how everything had fallen to disrepair. Ah. I remembered the long ago announcement that public buildings would be closing down definitely. Sports stadiums, movie theaters, malls, and offices had already been shuttered. Even apartment complexes and private homes had to change. People were moved and shuffled around as fences went up and shared space became inaccessible. Anything to keep people apart from each other, or at least in their own small safety bubbles. I hadn't set foot in the city in years, and looking at it now, I had no desire to ever set foot there again. With a small, sad sigh, I turned my back to the ghost city and climbed down from my roof. I met Mal in the garden and forced a smile.
Ready?
Ready. She seemed so excited as I made her way over to the chicken coop. For a moment, I even thought I saw a spring of hers in her step, but then I realized it was her limp. Was the aspirin she'd taken wearing off already? The chickens clucked with extra enthusiasm when they saw that company and opened the door to their fenced-in area. Some of them flapped their wings furiously, sending feathers flying and making Mallory laugh.
For as long as they've been alive, I've been alone. So they're either happy for me or scared of you. Not sure.
I pulled the gate shut behind us. Mallory was already saying hello to each individual chicken, giving them compliments and asked them how they were enjoying the morning. Then she saw the chicks and she gasped. Yes, chicks.
Babies!
Babies!
Did I not mention that? Yeah, they hatched a few days ago. You can pick them up if you want.
Oh, I want to see little chickies. She looked at me, her eyes doing that shimmery, sparkly thing again. I saw there were tears there and thought or hoped they were tears of joy.
They're so cute! Are you sure I can touch them? It looks like they'll break, they're so tiny.
Funny, that's exactly how I felt about her.
They'll be okay. Just gently scoop them up into your hands.
Okay.
Aw, chickies. She carefully held out her hand. Some of the chicks came closer, investigating her. It didn't take long before a couple of them volunteered to step into her palms. Aw, that's cute. Oh, she has a sparkly eye thing. It's a galaxy in there. No. What's with that little chickie? Looks sad. Be happy, little chickie. I uttered a small squeak and lifted the chicks up to her face. The The chips reciprocated with their own happy, peeping noises, dancing in her hands as she stroked their golden down with a single fingertip.
They're so soft. I love them.
They're so cute. Believed her. It was weird. I couldn't phantom loving something so easily or so quickly, but Mallory did. And a hunch she'd have taken a bullet for these baby chicks.
Oh, sorry about the smell, by the way. I'm used to it, so I guess I forget that coops can get pretty smelly.
I don't find it bad at all.
She can end a pet and play with the little chicks, mostly which is too precious.
Do you want to feed them? There's a bag of grain just behind you.
She looked over her shoulder, smiling, and gently set down the chick so she could reach for the bag. She got a small handful of grain and scattered in front of her. The chicks started to eat, soon the adult hens came to join them. Aw, all the chickens loved Mallory. They nibbled at her dress and danced around her as she fed them. The clucking intensified with every handful of grain, became so loud that Mallory started to laugh.
They're so happy.
They are cute. I nodded.
I try to give them a good life, even if it's only a short one.
Huh? What do you mean?
We do have to eat, you know. Oh no. Why did I say that? What should I say next? I get to choose? I don't want to choose that. Only have a few... Oh, is that it? Only 6 slave slots? No. Not fair. Guess here. What should I say next? Answer, honestly. Change the subject. Their dinner! Dinner!
Well, some of these chicks will grow up into egg layers so that we can eat things like that amazing omelet you made this morning. And others will be butchered for meat.
Oh, maybe that was a bad choice. She stared at me, then she looked away, and those are definitely not tears of joy in her eyes, not anymore. She petted another baby chick, but this time her hand was trembling. I felt pretty bad in that moment.
You take care of them from the time they're little babies like this, and then you kill them?
It's not like I want to. It's just how it goes. I need to eat, and I can't exactly go pick up meat from the grocery store.
I didn't feel like this was something that needed to be explained, let alone justified. While people survived, it wasn't a pleasant ordeal, but just like staying away from each other to stop the spread of a deadly virus, it was necessary. Did she not get that? Why was she still saying anything? Or why wasn't she saying anything?
Mallory?
I understand. I guess I just never thought about it before. It makes me a little sad. I'll be okay though. Thank you for bringing me to meet them.
That ended on a bit of a sour note. She stood up, gave the chicken the little goodbye wave, left the coop, and followed her out, shutting the gate behind
Shall
us.
we head back inside?
Cheep, cheep, chirp, cheep. Chicken gonna be meat? I hope not. She nodded as we strolled across the grass. I felt a little awkward when we went back to the cabin. There was a happy tension, but I didn't know if it was just me feeling guilty or something more. I tried to inject a little perkiness into my voice.
So, there was one more thing I really wanted to show you today. It's the most intricate and nerdy of all my systems, and by far my favorite.
Your computer? She tilted her head and questioned me.
Remember when I said I had fish? Well, it's a bit more complicated than that.
Oh, what is it?
The fish are actually part of a system I use to grow plants and food indoors. That way I can have at least some fresh things to eat in winter.
Oh?
It's called aquaponics, and it's really freaking cool. Come on, I'll show you.
She smiled, so I felt like she was charmed by the idea. That was a relief.
Okay.
I led Mallory to the cabin to my aquatics room. Aquaponics room. It was sort of tucked away since they always kept the door closed. You didn't miss. Oh, it's like a greenhouse kind of thing. And then the fishies. I found myself all excited to show this to her. I felt almost proud as I opened the door, revealing the dim room on the other side.
Why is it so dark in here?
I know, the purple light is kind of strange. It's because those are grow lights. Their wavelength mimics the sun and gives the plants the specific red and blue light they need. It's a way of tricking them into thinking they're outdoors. Not that plants can think.
She smiled like she thought I was maybe a little bit funny, which lifted my spirits even higher. I followed her all the way into the room. It wasn't something I acknowledged often, but this was my favorite place. Caring for the plants and the fish, watching them grow and change and live, gave me a feeling of connection I didn't quite get from the outdoor garden or the hens. I didn't even feel a connection like that with other humans, no matter how many forums I joined or chats I took part in, or emails I sent or received.
This is amazing.
Told ya.
I know, but I wasn't expecting so many plants. You have so much food.
I felt a twinge of guilt for how upset I'd been over the potatoes she burned. She walked down the rows of potted vegetables and fish tanks, murmuring hello to the fish, examining the water feeding systems and the glow lights. I imagined all through her eyes the eyes of someone seeing something like this for the first time. It must have seemed like a mad scientist lair or something. She paused, peering more closely at one of the fish tanks.
Why are there plants growing out of the tank water?
Good question.
Technically, they're not. They have their own water, it's just been cycled through the fish tank as well. That's how they get nutrients.
Wow, that's cool looking. I pointed the tubes that cycle the water.
It's like the circle of life, kind of. I feed the fish, and they produce waste, which contains ammonium. That gets converted into nitrites and then into nitrates, which the plants can use to grow. These tubes carry the tank water up through a filter. The filter traps all the bits of waste and gunk that won't help the plants and lets the now nutrient-rich water run through and into the plant pots. It's all a careful balance, everything working in harmony. If I feed the fish and keep the filters clean, then they're able to take care of my plants for me.
Mallory watched the fish swimming lazily back and forth, her face of wonder. I grabbed the container of fish food and held it out.
Here, feed them. Just take a bit and sprinkle it in.
I smiled at her encouragingly.
Okay.
She took a pinch of fish food out of the container and gently sprinkled some flakes into the tank. The fish swam slowly towards the flakes, opening and closing their mouths. Mallory smiled and
They're
gave
really
them some more.
hungry. Looking at them feels peaceful.
Yeah.
I watched her watching the fish and imagined showing her how to set up a system like this from scratch. I imagined us doing it together, then the seeds of her favorite flower or special fruit she'd never tried, celebrating the first bud and the first harvest. Oh, interesting. Mallory startled me by suddenly asking very suddenly,
Who taught you all of this?
I learned it on my own. She was too close. I took a step back and bumped his shelving behind me. I could feel my face warming up.
Well, my parents used to take care of their plants sort of like this when I was young.
Oh, her parents did. Nice.
And then I taught myself a bunch more by reading or by trial and error.
She shook her head, a lower gaze fixed somewhere far away.
My family had nothing like this. There was one grocery store in our neighborhood. We'd have to wait in line for ages, and then the shelves would be practically empty. We had to scrounge and make do with food that was either spoiled or just plain not enough.
Oh dang, that's not good at all.
All these systems you use. If we could have had something like this, then maybe...
Wow, okay, that's kind of real depressing. My stomach felt tight. This was it. She was opening up. She was finally going to tell where she come from, what kind of life she had, maybe even what she'd been doing out in the rain that night. I didn't feel ready. Why was my heart beating so fast? She looked so somber as her mouth came open, hesitant. And then she said,
I love that you wanted to show me all this stuff. But, what do you do for fun around here?
She did not open up like you wanted. She nudged me and gave me a cheeky little smile. Okay, so much for that idea. I forced my own smile, averting my eyes.
Yeah, I know. All work and no play, yada yada.
I play computer games.
How about this? Let's go make some tea, get something to eat, and I'll show you my video games.
Yep. She nodded, suddenly grinning just as brightly as she had been that morning. They had brought her no sadness at all. She said goodbye to the fish and went back into the brightly lit hall. I followed and closed up the room behind us. I ended up spending most of the afternoon playing video games on my tablet and snacking. When I showed Mallory my favorite retro game, Idle Clicker with just the right balance of dopamine-inducing roar, she told me she played before with her sister when they were children. She was so excited about this, and once again, her enthusiasm was infectious.
I used to hold the record for fastest speedrun of this game, you know.
You did not. There's no such thing as a speed run of a clicker game, and if there was, that record would be held by a bot.
We teased her like that, laughing and sharing little meaningless anecdotes. I didn't notice her shifting closer to me, getting more comfortable. We were too comfortable. Comfortable signs took over. They rallied against me. Too nervous to move, I looked down. Her eyes were closed, she was falling asleep. Oh my. You don't ever see my character. For some reason, I let her stay there on my shoulder. I studied her. The ornate approach she wore in her sweater dress, the cute pin she wore in her silky hair, creamy skin and narrow shoulders, plunging white lace bra. My throat tightened up. This was not okay. Slowly, with deliberate care, I slid away from her, used the throw cushion to lower her onto the couch, trying my best not to wake her. Placed a blanket over her. She continued to breathe deeply, in and out and moving. According to my clock, it was only just past 7. I was surprised Molly had fallen so deeply asleep already. She looked like she'd be there for the rest of the night. Maybe I shouldn't have let her help with so many chores, I thought, but then I was getting pretty sleepy too. I crept in the kitchen as quiet as I could, made my nightly cup of herbal tea. We snacked all afternoon, so I wasn't hungry, but that cup of tea before bed was an absolute must. Carefully carried my mug upstairs, setting as not to disturb Mallory. It wasn't long before I was dozing off, tea only half gone. My body had been warmed by the fire, which had made it all too easy to drift off to sleep. That night, I dreamt of the chicken coop being empty. The only traces left behind of the hens, and their feathers was gathered everywhere on the ground. Codas must have spirited them away. My dream brain thought, no, that's horrible. I remember pocketing one of the feathers and walking around the woods in search of them. It was a very strange dream, unlike any other I had before. Why that all depressing? Life is short. Play video games. Good advice. Well, I'm going to end this episode here. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. It was so cute. The chickies, and then it got depressing with the butchering dog, and then the fish were cute. But I had fun with it. Have an awesome day. Bye.